thing that you should never do when you're riding a motorcycle, especially in a corner, is look directly at the ground in front of you or the ground to the side of the bike. You should always try to look through the apex, and that's because the bike will go where your head goes. Yeah, if you try to look directly down, yeah, the bike doesn't want to lean. You need to look through the apex here. Now if you do your mod 1 test in the UK, you do obstacle avoidance. Now if you look at that cone as you're trying to swerve around it, you will hit the cone. You need to look past where you want the bike to go. You're excited because you want to get back on that bike. You've not been on a bike for a while, perhaps it's been 2 or 3 months, but this can really be the difference between life and death. So it's a must do. Never ride a motorcycle without checking that it's roadworthy. You want to check the brakes are working front and rear. A quick look at the brake discs, the sprockets and the chain. Make sure it's oiled and there's no excessive wear. Check the tyre pressure, make sure they're fully inflated. Check for any excessive wear again on the tyres, yeah, or even if they're dried or cracked, that'll give you some indication of the age of the tyre. Don't roll on the throttle before you lean the bike. Yeah, make sure the bike is fully leaned over and you're getting well through that corner, especially in the wet, yeah, before you start to open up that throttle again, because the bike's going to want to stand up. Something you should never do, guys, is snatch the front brake mid-corner, because it's going to want to seesaw forward. There's a big difference between that and trail braking, guys, yeah? Trail braking means you're loading up that front brake as you go into the corner, yeah? Then as you lean the bike and you roll out through the corner, you start to release that front brake again as the bike's standing up. That also means that the front tyre and the front suspension is already loaded up. So if you do need to pull on that brake, yeah, you're less likely to lose traction at the front end. So if you lean a tyre over and you apply constant pressure to it, you'll feel how it grips the surface of the ground, even in the wet. But if you hold the tyre loosely, lean it over and slap the top of it, more than likely it's going to wash out. Another thing you don't want to do, folks, is straight arm the bike, yeah. And this can often happen when we're tired or fatigued. Maybe we've been riding for a long time, we've been out for several hours, maybe you're on a sports bike and the posture's a little bit off. Keep your arms straight, unrelaxed, and you give the bike some input. You feel that it wants to tank slap on you. Now, if you're straight arming this and you want to counter steer the bike, yeah, as you lean over, your own body is essentially working against the bike. Yeah, it's almost like two opposing forces, and that's what can start to cause that sort of snake effect, again, especially in the wet. Another common mistake is trying to keep up with faster or more experienced riders. This is especially prevalent in group rides. If you're in a group ride, you probably always want to make sure that the least experienced riders are towards the front of the pack, but of course invariably that almost never happens. So what you tend to find is less experienced riders start to throw the bike into corners at speeds that perhaps they can't handle, or maybe they choose a bad line. Of course, riding motorcycles can be a social event. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with group rides either, but just be aware of your own abilities. What you don't want to do is throw yourself into corners at speeds that you can't handle because you're trying to keep up with people. It's not clever, and the people in that group, they're not going to thank you if they've got to scrape you off the ground and start phoning ambulances and stuff like that.